Hey everybody, wanted to come at you again today with a squat progression video. Wanted to go over some squat basics before we get started. These form considerations are going to apply to each exercise, really just basic setup for a squat movement that are going to help put you in a good position for success. So as far as positional setup, we want feet to be at or just outside of shoulder width apart. Toes out a little bit if you like. That can vary a little bit person to person, but one way or another, that should be a pretty comfortable and strong position for you to operate out of. So as we jump in here, one of the keys to this movement is making sure that your hips are going backwards. That might seem like a strange idea, but it's key to getting your hips to be able to actually work the way that they're supposed to throughout this movement. It's really easy for this to turn into a knee exercise and can cause some pain that way. But in order for it to be a hip exercise as intended, getting your hips to kind of sit back like you're sitting in a chair is really important. We'll start with probably the most fundamental squat. This is a supported squat that's only about halfway down. I call it a mini squat. So essentially with this one, you're going to have your hands on a surface like a countertop or something like that. You're going to sit your hips back and lower yourself down about halfway or to whatever distance is comfortable, using your hands for balance and then maybe even a little bit of help as you're coming back up to a standing position, extended all the way, so standing straight up. The next kind of progression from that is taking your hands off the table or whatever surface you're using so that your legs are doing all the work to bring you back up from where you go down to. In this video, I have a chair behind myself. That's there just in case, so I have a target as well as something for safety considerations in case I get to a point where I can't bring myself back up. The next progression here is a supported squat all the way to the chair. Same idea, my hands for this one are going to be back on the surface until I feel really comfortable taking my hips all the way down to the surface I'm going to, or to the depth of the squat that I'm going to. Notice how back my hips are going versus down and forward. You'll see a little bit of forward knee movement here. That's totally normal. But what's really important is sitting your hips back like you're sitting down in a chair like you see here. And again, the next natural progression is taking those hands off and taking your seat to the chair just like the same. The next variation without any sort of handhold assist is what I call a pause squat. Now for this one, you won't have any support with your hands necessarily. What you're going to do is descend to about a 90-degree squat or a little deeper if you want. Pause at the bottom and then come back up. So what this is going to do is challenge your glutes and your hamstrings at the bottom of your squat, give them a little bit more work to do, a little bit more time under tension. And then as you come back up, you can even add a little bit of power or explosiveness to it so you kind of pop yourself back up for a little bit more work and a little bit more exercise demand. Following that, this one requires at least some piece of equipment. I'm using a chair here. So this one's called a split squat or a Bulgarian split squat. In this setup, my back foot is on this chair surface. My front foot is a good distance ahead of me. It'll take a little bit to feel for what feels right there, but then otherwise I'm sinking my hips straight down. Essentially becomes kind of a 1.5 leg squat. So my front leg is doing a whole lot of work, which is why it is where it is in the progression. Following that, we're back on 2 feet. This variation is called a jump squat, and it is exactly what it looks like. Similar to the pause squat, you're gonna be exploding out of the bottom of a squat and jumping up towards the ceiling, landing softly and controlled. My cue that I give people for this one is I don't want to hear your feet hitting the floor. So try and land with your toes first and sink your hips back down a little bit to cushion yourself so that you land softly and in a controlled manner. Finally, and this one is pretty challenging, this is a single leg squat with hand assist. I can do like 1 or 2 of these on each leg, and even my right leg, it's pretty hard. It's a pretty advanced progression, but if it's right for you, then check it out. I usually will have some sort of handhold with me when I'm doing them, but I really don't have to do very many before I'm pretty wore out. So yeah, The last one here is the so-called Area 51 squat. This one's pretty new to me, but I wanted to include it just as a truly advanced level squat here. Like, as you saw, pretty advanced. Would love to help coach somebody through that one. So if you want to call in, would love to help you figure out how to do that one on your own. It took me a long time to get to where I could with that one. But yeah, that concludes our squat progression video. If you're having any issues with your squat, or as you transition back to the gym, or having issues as you're loading back up, we'd love to help you out with any issues you're having.